Welcome to our UC Berkeley virtual campus visit. We're so excited to have you here joining us today, and we're ready to kick off our tour. First, my name is Kara, and I'm going to be your moderator for today. I use the she, her, and hers pronouns, and I'm from Valencia, California, which is down in SoCal, right by Six Flags Magic Mountain if you're a roller coaster person. I'm going into my senior year in the fall, and I'm studying media studies and sociology. Outside of my academics, I'm involved in the UC Rally Committee, which is a spirit group here on campus. We wave flags on the football field and we fire a cannon whenever our team scores. Very spirited group, love them. I'm also involved in Greek life. I'm in a social sorority. I'm in the Business Careers and Entertainment Club, or BCEC for short, where we bring in members of the entertainment industry to kind of talk to us about their lives. I'm also a lifeguard on campus and have an off-campus internship at a wine PR company. With that, that's a little bit of me. So we'll get into some housekeeping for our tour here today. This is going to be a 45-minute presentation, and you can type any and all questions that you have into that Q&A function that you see on your screen. We have lots of ambassadors waiting on the back end to answer your questions. There will also be polls launched throughout this presentation. So as you're learning a little bit about us, we can also learn a little bit about you. This is being recorded, and there are other versions available on our website that you can check out after the tour. This is a campus overview from the student perspective, so we do not have any admissions or financial aid information. Those are separate presentations, and we can point you in that direction if that is what you are looking for. Finally, we'll end with a live Q&A with our presenters today, and we'll do our best to answer any and all questions that you have. And with that, I will pass it off to our presenters for today.
All right, thank you so much, Kara, for that lovely introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Ritika. I use the she, her, hers pronouns, and I am from Saratoga, California, which is around 1 hour south of Berkeley. Very, very, very excited to be presenting with all of you guys today and talking about Berkeley. I'm going into my sophomore year, and I'm pursuing a double major in economics and media studies. My involvements include the Undergraduate Marketing Association here at Cal, where we basically do these different consulting projects for different clients like RX bars, Swell bottles, different companies like that in the past. I also, like Kara, am a part of the Business Careers and Entertainment Club, so we have that connection there. I'm super interested in media and creation, so Cal TV is something that I'm involved with, and I specifically do a lot of news reporting there. I've been involved in the student government, which we call the Associated Students of the University of California here at Cal, and that's abbreviated the ASUC. And finally, I'm a part of Matriculate, where I essentially act as a college counselor for low-income, high-achieving high school students. And just like Kara, again, I'm a part of Greek life, where I am in a social sorority. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Cate.
Hi everybody, my name is Cate. I use the she series of pronouns, and I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so pretty out of state, pretty far away, but I do love it here. I'm in Berkeley currently. I'm going into my junior year. I'm halfway done. Don't know how I feel about that. A little sad. My major is molecular and cell biology, which is our general biology major here at Cal. A little bit about my involvement. I'm a teaching assistant for a biolab on campus for one of the classes I took my freshman year. That's really fun. I just get to kind of help out my peers with their lab. I also work for a sustainable and ethical clothing company, which is also a club on campus, and it's called Ethical Apparel, little play on words. I am also a part of Greek life, like Kara and Ritika. I am a decal facilitator. A decal is a student-run class, and my class that I teach is about Harry Potter. It is pretty fun, pretty niche, very nerdy. We love it here at Berkeley. I also help run the UC Berkeley Twitter, and that's really cool. I feel like it's a very good plug for all of your friends. If you want to flex on them, you can be like, oh, I run the Twitter. I'm also in the Cal ACLU. I love to be an activist, really speak on my political beliefs, so that's a really fun thing for me to do. And I also got a fellowship with the help of the career advising department here for the summer.
All righty, thanks so much, Cate, for sharing. Welcome to Berkeley, everybody. Well, I mean, at least virtually. You'll see a poll popping up on your screen right now, just so that we can get a sense of, who you are, so that we can cater the tour more to you and just make it the best for everybody here. But here's just a little bit of an overview of Berkeley. It doesn't cover everything that we are, because I mean, Berkeley is massive. There's so many different facets to what being a Berkeley student means. But I mean, you know, you can see the Memorial Glade at the top right over here. I think that's the best representation of Berkeley, because every single time you go to the Glade, you see something different. You see students studying, playing music. One guy brought a saxophone one time. That was interesting. You see students playing cricket, different sports, and it just is such a wonderful symbol of how diverse and rich the culture here is on campus. So it's just very exciting every single time I go. One of my favorite study spots, if I'm being honest. Other things, you know, sports are huge here on campus. We're so proud of all of our different teams. And as a student that's only attended Berkeley virtually, I am so excited to attend all the different games this upcoming year and, you know, get all pumped up with my peers. Other things we're super proud about, we're celebrating 150 years of women at Berkeley, which is like, woohoo, very, very exciting. And just the beautiful infrastructure of our buildings, you can notice it here, and it's just such a wonderful place to learn and grow. So really excited to be sharing it with all of you guys today.
Thank you. Yeah, it is very exciting to be a student at Berkeley, especially in person. You see many things, many unique, different things. Looking at our poll results today, we see that a lot of you are high school seniors. So congratulations on almost graduating, and thank you for spending your day with us. We're just going to go over a quick agenda, the topics we're going to hit today. First, we're going to do a little overview of Berkeley so you can get the gist of our campus and our history. We're going to move on to academics, go through all of our different colleges so you can see what you might want to study here. Housing and dining, of course, you are going to have to live here. So it's nice to see your options. Health and safety, just so you can get an idea of where our campus is located and how our campus is trying to protect you. Student resources and student life, so you can see what you might be doing outside the classroom. Athletics, which is a big part of our Cal Pride, so we do love to talk about that. Our libraries and our research, you might be spending a lot of time doing this outside of class, so it's fun to listen to. And remote learning, which hopefully is over soon, but if not, we do have a lot of great resources. So it's fun to talk about them. So with that, I will hand it over to Ritika.
Great, thanks for that overview. Okay, diving into the history of Berkeley, you guys. I know sometimes history can be a drag, but I'm telling you, this is exciting history. So Berkeley was founded in 1868, making it the first UC campus ever to be built, meaning that we are historic, you guys. So Berkeley, for that reason, goes by many names. Simply Berkeley, some people call us Cal, that's usually used in athletics. And we just go by the University of California, the #1 public university in the world, you know, all of them kind of synonymous, mean the same thing. And our mascot are the Golden Bears. You can see in the top left corner here, the best golden bear of them all. His name is Oski, and he is just a wonderful mascot. If you ever see him, I haven't had the chance to see him yet. I've only seen him virtually. But if you ever see Oski, you got to take a picture with him. You got to give him a high five, or at least a little elbow thing, you know, because Oski's just the greatest. Our campus size is pretty big for a university, which is quite exciting. We have around 30,799 undergraduate students and 11,548 graduate students. So lots of diversity, lots of different people, awesome stuff. And we're also home to a lot of historical landmarks. You'll see on the top right, the Campanile, which is actually the third tallest bell clock tower in the world. And that is just the center of our campus. Like you can see, even from San Francisco, sometimes you can see the Campanile standing tall. And I think that's just so wonderful. And you can also see Sather Gate here in the bottom right. It's very, you know, it stands as a monument of the free speech movement. So that's something that was super important in American history, but also it was in Monsters University. So, I mean, it's quite a historical landmark here. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, if you're into Marvel movies. All right, I'll hand it off to Cate to talk about campus culture.
Yeah, we do really love our traditions here at Berkeley, so it's always fun to hear about them. Thank you. Going into our campus culture, you might have heard of Berkeley in the news with some of our activism. I will say, if there's one word to kind of sum up all Berkeley students, it might be change makers, not only politically, but in research and just different realms of academic life. It's really interesting to see how students currently and alumni go out and just change the world. this kind of started with the free speech movement. This happened for the during the anti-Vietnam War movement to kind of protest the ban on political activism that our campus had. This culture has just spread into an insane change-making just community. You will see students working on anything from, policy to research to engineering. They're just always changing, innovating. It's really great to see. On our campus, we have a lot of compassion for others and a compassion for social justice. I personally am a part of the ACLU, which is where I like to work on my political activism and talk about what I care about. I'm also in that sustainable clothing organization, which is something that I really care about. I care about taking down fast fashion. So it's nice to be doing that currently. While I'm at school, I don't just talk about it, I actively pursue it. We also have our ASUC, which Ritika is a part of. The really cool thing that they did last semester was a completely student-led effort to allow pass-fail grading for major requirements, which was something that students felt really strongly about. The university was kind of pushing back on, but our ASUC really rallied and got that for us. And that was a great thing to see, the power of student-led movements. We also have had some different movements on our campus, like some protests at People's Park to save the park. It's a big historical part of Berkeley. A lot of students and community members don't want to see it go. And so it's really great that while we actively go to this university, we can speak up, voice our opinions for decisions they might make that maybe we disagree with. And it just really allows us to feel like we're a part of this campus and our voices are heard. So we're going to let Ritika take over again.
Absolutely. And I think in hearing Cate talk about her involvement, you guys can definitely tell that she's very passionate, about everything that she's involved with and everything that she is fighting for. And that kind of motif of passion is evident in in every realm of Berkeley's student life. So whether that be in the form of protests here, which you see in the top left, or innovation and research, which we have so much going on at Berkeley in terms of, different research projects from STEM to the humanities. You can see a robotics project down here as well, and passion about our school itself. We have the wonderful rally committee here at Berkeley. You can see here the top right and down here that all just create this amazing atmosphere at the school that make us all so proud to go here. So just kind of being passionate, and that's something that if a lot of you guys are curious about in your applications, because we get a lot of questions about that as well, highlighting the fact that you're passionate about something is very, very, it's a really, really good decision to do, because that is exactly what Berkeley is. It's a community of passionate people who want to make a change and leave the world better than they found it.
That is definitely true. And some examples of leaving the world better than we found it, especially with COVID. We have had some really interesting research and innovation happen on our campus. If you don't know who Jennifer Doudna is, she is a professor at Berkeley, and she recently won a Nobel Prize in chemistry for her work on CRISPR, which is genome editing. She has her Innovative Genomic Institute on campus. A lot of my friends actually do research for that, which is insane. But over the past summer, she had a trial COVID saliva test. It was really interesting. A lot of my friends and I did it. It's just great to be like a part of history, a part of this small little research that's happening on campus. So just a little example of how Berkeley is changing the world, and you can literally be a part of it. I think that's so interesting. We also have a lot of advocacy and social justice work on campus. We have a very new Othering and Belonging Institute, which tries to take down those barriers to othering in the community and at Berkeley. So it's just really cool watching different things that are part of your campus, it's part of your everyday life, but they actually have these worldly impacts. And I think that's another part of Berkeley that's just a staple of going here and living here and being a student here.
Yes, and with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive deep into the undergraduate colleges now. You'll see another poll popping up, and go ahead and just check off what your academic interests are. And that way you know specifically which college to really pay attention to, while you should be paying attention to all of the colleges, honestly, because I think interests change really fast. It's good to know just like what you fit into as of right now. So we offer 5 different undergraduate colleges here at Berkeley: the College of Letters and Science, the Rosser College of Natural Resources, College of Environmental Design, College of Chemistry, and College of Engineering. Something that's really important to keep in mind is that it's not difficult to transfer between the first three on the list. So letters and science, natural resources, and environmental design. However, for the College of Chemistry and the College of Engineering, we strongly advise that if you're interested in either of these realms here, that you apply directly to these schools. Because while it isn't impossible to transfer in, it is much more difficult. So if you kind of want a confirmed kind of, yes, I will be studying at these colleges, then definitely think about applying there directly.
Looking at our poll results, we have a diverse group of interests, which is really great to see. We see some biology, of course, the best major. But yeah, that is perfect to see that you are all a very diverse group of attendees, because our first college up is our most diverse in terms of majors. It is our College of Letters and Science. This college is our biggest. It houses 75% of our undergraduate population, and it houses most of our majors. As Ritika was talking about, it's pretty easy to transfer into this college or transfer out of it into CNR or environmental design. So it really is a good place to start off if you're not super sure what you want to do. Most students do come in, or all students, excuse me, do come in undeclared. So that's another great thing. You can explore what major you want to do. Maybe you have an idea in the back of your mind, but you don't have to commit to it right when you get here or when you apply to Berkeley. We have 5 divisions within LNS. They cover a really broad range. There's arts and humanities, which would be your art classes, maybe your history classes, things like that. Biological sciences, which is what I'm in, mathematical and physical sciences, social sciences like poli-sci and psychology, and then undergraduate studies, which might cover interdisciplinary studies, among other things. We do have 80 plus majors. For me personally, I came in, I knew I wanted to be MCB. I kind of dabbled in a few other things that I might have wanted to do, but at the end of the day, I stuck with MCB. I took a lot of our breadth classes, which are classes that you have to take in the 5 other divisions. These really opened me up to realizing that I do want to be pre-law, which is kind of an unusual combination. So I'm really glad that I did get those breadths and I did get to explore outside of my major. We also, as a fun fact, have 17 out of the 25 Nobels at Berkeley. Some people might expect that they would be in our chemistry department, but no, we have a lot of those Nobels. So we are very proud of our College of Letters and Science. Even though it's the biggest, it has an abundance of resources. The students here are really passionate, and it's just fun to interact with other people in this college. So I do really love it.
Yes, the College of Letters and Science is the best. I personally am biased because it is also my college, but yes, Cate touched on everything. It's really flexible, really easy to change in case your interests change. I changed my major like 3 times in the College of Letters and Science already. So like, it's fine. Change is fine. Okay, but moving on to the Rosser College of Natural Resources. This one kind of revolves more around sustainability and social justice, and it offers several different environmental focuses for students to kind of select and then cater their classes to. So there's biological sciences, nutrition and toxicology, ecosystem management, interdisciplinary studies, social sciences, and economics and policy. And you can see that there's a lot of diversity in these choices. Like, you know, even though the name of the college is the College of Natural Resources, there, you know, you can go into economics if you wanted to, you go into nutrition if you wanted to. It's really not like, none of the colleges here at Berkeley are narrow at all. So that's a really, really nice thing about this certain college. And its motto is see the bigger picture, make a better world. And I think that speaks volumes to how incredible this college is, in that every single class, from what my friends have said who have taken classes there, has a lens in which you analyze something bigger than the classroom, bigger than yourself. And it just goes to show again that Berkeley passion about making positive change and leading forward and setting a positive example. So very, very awesome stuff here. And they do some really, really cool labs, which I've always wanted to take a class in this college just to experience it. You can see in the top left, students from the College of Natural Resources doing labs in Strawberry Creek, which is a very special creek at Berkeley. It runs through campus, and it's just a really, really cool way to see students getting involved in stuff that's like right on campus, and making labs and cleaning up creeks. It's just fantastic. I love this college, and I wish I could take classes in it eventually, someday.
Yes, after seeing these tours and hearing my friends who are in the school, it's inspired me to pick up a double major, or technically a simultaneous degree, which is what it's called if you're double majoring between two different colleges, in Rouser. It's just a really cool college, and the classes seem so great. So hopefully that'll happen for me. We'll see. But we're going to move on to our College of Environmental Design. It is ranked 4th in architecture globally, which is so crazy. And something I love about this school is when you major here, you're not just majoring in architecture, you're majoring in architecture with a focus on environmental design, which to me is just the epitome of a Berkeley student caring about other things while caring about your passions. But we're just going to give you a little bit of overview before I start gushing all over the place about environmental design. It is our smallest college. It has 650 students. This is really nice because you can get your individual workspace in our library, in the environmental design building, which you can see here. It's called Bauer Worcester Hall. It does have a library inside of it. It is one of my favorite libraries to study in. It's on the east side of campus, so it's close to where I lived, and it's just really beautiful, a really peaceful place to study. The building might look a little brutalist to you. It is, but something that's really interesting is it is actually made to be sustainable. So its use of glass and concrete is not meant to be the most aesthetically pleasing to your eye. It's actually meant to be very sustainable, which is just a really cool thing that the School of Environmental Design tries to teach its students and actively is demonstrating to our campus. It has 4 majors. There's architecture, landscape architecture, urban studies, and sustainable environmental design. All of these will have that focus on design with the environment. It's really cool to see the classes that they take. I have friends who have to take this class where you like carve a city into a book. So you take an X-Acto knife and you like make buildings and trees and stuff. It's just so cool. And I've seen like so many different designs, and they're also creative. I feel like I would just make like a brick in the middle and it wouldn't be cute. But we just have some of the most creative students here. So of course they come up with some crazy things. And a little fun fact to round us out on this slide, Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson series majored in architecture here. And to me, she is the epitome of an architecture major. So knowing that she went here gives me a little bit more Cal pride. So if you know who she is, you can be a little fangirl with me if you would like. So with that, we can move on to Ritika's next slide.
I did not know about that from Percy Jackson. So that is so cool, Cate. Thanks for saying that. Wow, you learn something new every day. All right, this is the College of Chemistry, which is ranked #1 globally, you guys. Not to flex, but I'm going to flex. It's the smallest college here on campus with around 1,000 students, and it offers 3 different majors. So there's chemistry, chemical engineering, and chemical biology. The College of Chemistry is home to a lot of innovation and research, just like the other colleges here on campus. In fact, 16 elements on the periodic table were discovered in the College of Chemistry, 2 of which being berkelium and californium. And I'd like you guys to take a guess about why they might be called that way. You know what? Like, just mull it over in your head a little bit. Let us know what you think. But another thing that was discovered here in the College of Chemistry was the Lewis dot structure. If you weren't the biggest fan of chemistry like me in high school, it's basically that thing where you drew a bunch of dots around an atom and it like measured the valence electrons, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's very important, actually. I'm making it seem like not, it's very, very important. And it's taught in every introductory chemistry course through the nation, and I'm pretty sure globally. Like it's a foundational element of learning chemistry. So we are very, very proud that a professor here, Professor Gilbert Lewis, discovered this structure. Very cool stuff. All right, time to go to our last college, the College of Engineering.
Yes, as someone who has had to take a few classes in the College of Chemistry for MCB, it is pretty funny to me because one of the professors I had to take a class with wrote the book on organic chemistry, and then he taught the class. So like he knew everything, and it was a really hard class. So I imagine having Professor Lewis as someone teaching you chemistry was pretty difficult, but I'm glad he makes everyone's life a little bit easier with his Lewis dot structure. But anyway, moving on to engineering. Our College of Engineering is, to say the least, very elite. It is every single major is ranked top 9 globally. So everyone who's in the College of Engineering is the best of the best. I have a lot of friends in the College of Engineering, especially EECS, if you've ever heard it, which is Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. It is one of the top EECS programs in the nation. So everything here is just great and wonderful and very rigorous. It has about 3,800 students, so it's a little bit bigger than some of those other small colleges, and it has 11 majors. When you apply to the College of Engineering, you're going to apply directly into a major. So if you want to be Mech-E, Bio-E, EECS, as I mentioned, you're going to apply to that before you get to Berkeley. You can transfer between them, but it's a little difficult. I had a friend who had to transfer between, and he actually had to hit a certain GPA requirement before he was allowed to transfer. So it's pretty hard to do that, but you can. There's also an undecided category when you apply, but that's actually the most competitive because they don't have a lot of undecided slots. They don't have a lot of open slots in all the other colleges or in the other majors. So I do highly recommend just applying to the major you want if you think you want to be engineering. But when you are in that college, you are not just taking engineering classes. Don't worry about that. You are also going to be taking classes specializing in the type of engineering you want and humanities and social science breadth classes. So you can explore those other classes. You can also take a minor if you want to in the College of LNS or in CNR. If you want to just explore and not do engineering all day, you can do that. If you want to learn more, there is a separate engineering virtual visit, but just to give you a little bit of taste, give you a little taste of how Berkeley kind of expands on our engineering program. If you look in that top right picture, you'll see a bunch of lovely Berkeley students wearing their ME t-shirts. I have a few friends in MET. A really cool thing about this program, it is engineering and a degree in our business school, which is Haas. It is a very highly ranked business school. This is an extremely competitive program. I think they accept about 1% every year. And it is just really cool. They jokingly call it the Navy SEALs of programs. That's a weird thing. But you can do anything with an MET degree from Berkeley, and it's just really amazing to see. So our engineering school is just changing the world, and students who are in it just know that they can, and that's something that's so great and such a privilege to go to the school and know that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cate, for unwrapping that. And that pretty much wraps up the undergraduate schools review, and we're going to move on to the graduate schools offered here at Cal. So we have 9 different graduate schools, and it is just absolutely wonderful to have so many graduate students here on campus. At the beginning, I think, I said something around 11,000 graduate students. This is really helpful for undergraduate courses because these graduate students actually come into undergraduate courses and serve as graduate student instructors, which is very, very helpful, especially in particularly large courses. But here you can see a cool list of all of the different graduate schools. There's the Haas School of Business that Cate talked about. There is the College of Education, Information, Berkeley Law, Social Welfare, Optometry, Journalism, Public Health, and Public Policy. There are so many different ways for your undergraduate students to get involved in these graduate schools. The Haas School of Business offers an undergrad in business administration and global management, where students can actually pursue their first semester in London. There's also the biology and business program, where students can simultaneously pursue a degree in biology and business at the Haas School of Business. And there's the MET program, which Cate kind of talked about in the previous slide. And if business isn't really your thing, I know so many people who pursue education minors, journalism minors, etc. So there's really so many ways to get involved in colleges beyond just the undergraduate colleges as an undergrad student.
Yes, and before we move on to our structure and class sizes, I just wanted to say if you have any questions, if you are wondering what you want to major in or prerequisites for those majors, please ask them in the chat, because when we get a bunch of questions at the end, it's super difficult for our back-end ambassadors to answer them all at once. So just ask those now, think about what you were wondering during our slides on those colleges, and just let us know, because we would love to answer. Moving on though, we are going to talk about those class sizes in our structure. Berkeley is a really big school, and most people are worried when they come here about coming to a school of about 40,000 students and wondering if they're just going to be another number in their class. I will say that is not the case. When you come in, your freshman introductory classes are going to be pretty big. I've had classes of about 200, 300 people. I know one of our biggest data science classes is 1,000 people, but that's really the only class that's like that. But our average student to faculty ratio is 19 to 1. And some people are like, how is that possible? classes aren't 19 to 1 people. That is true. Our faculty comes from our GSIs and our other resources. Our GSIs are our graduate student instructors. So while you have a professor in your class, say of 200 people, every 20 people are going to have a GSI. And that GSI is going to hold office hours and also have discussions. So for me, I was really nervous about my introductory math class. My professor would just talk and there was no time for questions. And then I would be like, I don't know what's happening. So every week I would go to my discussion and my GSI. He was great. He was literally a Rhodes Scholar, or yeah, he was a Rhodes Scholar. He would teach us like our math that we had just learned, but he would reteach it in a smaller setting. And it was just great to learn. We also have 81% of classes are fewer than 50 students. That's really nice because sometimes, you know, you can handle those big classes, but sometimes you need smaller classes. So just getting that concentrated classroom feel is really nice. We also have labs and studios in addition to our office hours and discussions, which is a really great way to get more hands-on learning. And if you're looking for additional resources outside of your classroom, we do have the SLC, which is the Student Learning Center. I have used that for a lot of my classes. It's really nice. You have a peer who did really well in the class help you, so you can go, it's drop in. You can work on a worksheet. You can ask them questions. You can literally just have them reteach the material, whatever you want. We also have individual advising. I've used that for career advising, class advising. Sometimes it's great to just say what you were thinking out loud so another person hears it and kind of affirms that you were on the right track. So Berkeley just has a lot of resources for you to succeed outside of those big classes and also in those big classes as well.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to keep what Cate said in mind if you came from a small high school and you're kind of intimidated by these numbers, because that was my experience. And immediately when I got to Berkeley, I realized that's something I really shouldn't have worried about. There's so many resources to promote a small learning feeling in a big school. But reflecting a little bit upon this past year, fall and spring semesters were both fully remote, and there were hybridization goals in line with CDC guidelines towards the spring semester. I, as a freshman, took all of my classes remotely and kind of just did my first year of college from my room, which was pretty cool. Like not what I was expecting, but also I think Berkeley offers so many different resources to make it a lot better than it sounds, if that makes sense. The academic experience was great. Berkeley hooked us up with Zoom Pro, which means that, you know, no annoying time limits on your Zoom meetings. So I could actually use my Berkeley Zoom account for a lot of different things. Like I tutor and I teach piano. So kind of having Zoom to conduct those lessons virtually was very, very helpful. There was also asynchronous and synchronous learning options. So I was enrolled in a math class my first semester, introductory math, that was completely asynchronous. And that was definitely, you know, a different kind of learning experience. I think it was especially helpful for international students I knew who, you know, they had to wake up at absurd times for their synchronous courses. So having these asynchronous options was infinitely helpful. And then resources, just like Cate talked about, there was virtual drop-in tutoring. I enjoyed that tutoring so much that I actually applied to come back this semester and be a tutor for economics. And I'm excited to announce I will be doing that. So if you are an incoming student and plan on taking economics, I'll see you there. But yes, the resources are fantastic here at Cal. And, you know, they also offered a semester in the cloud system, which just made it easier to access files, videos, all the different sorts of media that came out of these virtual classes.
Moving on from learning and unfortunately remote learning, we're going to talk about housing and dining. After you are done learning, you do have to live somewhere and you do have to eat somewhere. So I know a lot of you might be a little concerned if you are not from the area, where you're going to live, where you're going to eat. Berkeley, like most schools, has a really structured housing and dining program. So we love to talk about it. 95% of freshmen do live on campus. Their freshman year, which is really nice. You get that sense of community. You get that sense of security. You're not worried about like where you're going to live, finding roommates. The university sets it all up for you. If you want to go random and kind of put like no effort into where you're going to live, you can do that. And it honestly works out great. It happened to me my freshman year. My roommates were fine, no problems. And I met some of my best friends in my dorm. So it all works out. We have a couple different housing options your freshman year. Oh, and there's also a poll launching. Excuse me, I completely forgot about the poll. Just asking where you're from. We like to see where our guests are coming from. But continuing, we have a few different residential hall and apartment options. We have the units, which are your like traditional style. We also have Clark Kerr, a little bit bigger, a little bit farther from campus. We have some newer halls. We have some newer amenities. They all have dining halls, which is really nice. You don't really want to cook for yourself your freshman year. You're figuring out life on your own. Cooking is just that added stress. So that's really nice. Freshmen do get priority for housing, but make sure, this is the big tip, write this down if you're going here. When you are filling out your housing application, put any room, any location as your last priority, and then you are guaranteed housing. If you don't put that, I have friends who did this. They didn't put that when they went into the housing lottery. They didn't get one of their first 4 options. They did not get housing. It was really stressful. My friend's mom made her call other schools to ask for admission because like she didn't think she would have anywhere to live in Berkeley. So do that. And then you have somewhere to live. But when you live here, hopefully, because you put that 5th option, you are going to have a lot of different resources in the dorms, which will make having a community here so much better. You're going to have that residential assistant, which is an RA. It's an upperclassman student that has gone through this. They're here to mediate conflict. They're here to help you feel comfortable. They put on a lot of programming, so it's really nice to have that person in your dorm. You can also sign up for theme programs. So if you want to live in housing with people that have something in common with you beyond just being Berkeley students, you can definitely do that. I have friends who are in global environmental theme housing, friends who are in women in STEM program. There's also programs based on your ethnicity or background, which are really great if you come from an unrepresented group to come to Berkeley, know that you have that resource and that community on campus. We also have common areas, so you can meet everyone else in your dorm. And it's just a really great resource, and I think one of those traditional college things that you don't miss out on at Berkeley. For COVID, hopefully this is not the case anymore, but we did take every precaution necessary. There were single rooms, face masks everywhere except for in your room, and your social pod was everyone on your floor. So this was a really good way to feel safe. I know most of my friends who are freshmen felt very safe, but also get a sense of community in that, traditional freshman experience. So Berkeley really does cover housing pretty well. Most people I know have really fun memories from their housing experience their freshman year.
Absolutely. So just leaving off of what Cate was talking about, your different options as a continuing student would be campus housing, so everything that she just unpacked, the international house, which is a super cool kind of private housing area. A lot of people think that you have to be an international student to live here, but that's not the case. Anybody can live here, and it's supposed to be a really cool, like culturally diverse experience. So I highly recommend checking this out. And you can see in the top left corner, this half of a dome kind of cut off at night, I don't even know what shape that is. The shaped little black things right there, they have colored lights behind them. So usually they shine blue and gold at night, and you can see it from a lot of places around Berkeley. So that's super awesome. I love this housing area. There are also affiliated properties, off-campus apartments, co-op housing, where you pay a discounted amount to live in that housing. And in exchange, every week you kind of put in a certain number of hours of work so that you can receive that discounted price. And you live together with a lot of different people. And then there's Greek housing, which I'm planning on living in my next year. That's for either professional Greek organizations or social Greek organizations. It's just a way for you to live with people in those organizations together. So it's pretty fun. And if you are not living in on-campus housing, like in an apartment or something like that, and you suck at cooking, like I'm so bad at cooking, I would 10 out of 10 recommend the meal plan option, which is where you can opt into dining hall food here at Berkeley. And even if you live in an apartment and such, you can still get your meals from there. I think it's a pretty great way to just not have, cooking on your mind and have something else to stress you out. And if you have any other questions about housing, feel free to visit housing.berkeley.edu, and hopefully all of your questions will be answered there.
Thank you. Yeah, I was someone who was very worried about housing. I almost didn't come here because someone convinced me that there was no housing. It's so far from the case. Currently, I'm in the co-ops, which is a really fun experience, very diverse. I lived in a fraternity, I lived in a sorority, I lived in the dorms, just all over the place. There's so many things to do here at Berkeley, so many places to live. So you will have no problem finding housing. But moving on to health and safety, I know a lot of people are worried it's your first time away from home. You might be wondering, where do I go if I get sick? I got sick a lot my freshman year. It was really embarrassing. My roommate was constantly sick. I think she was just like bringing things back and giving them to me. Kind of rude of her. But if you are sick, even if you don't have our student health insurance program, which is called SHIP, if you have your own private insurance, you can always go to the Tang Center. It is pictured in the bottom right. It is on campus. You go there with any ailment, they will help you. One time I literally went there and asked them for a mask because there were fires. Like, you can annoy them, you can say whatever you want. They have to let you in. It's great. The doctors are great. I recently had to go, my piercing got infected. That was embarrassing. And helped me out, kind of reprimanded me for not taking care of it, but I deserved it. It's a really great resource. You feel very safe knowing that you have it. They have urgent care, they have primary care. For those of you who might be coming off of an injury, they do have physical therapy. I have a friend who had surgery on her knee and she goes there for physical therapy. They did do COVID testing, which was amazing. I did their first round of COVID testing last summer. I was a part of that trial. It was really great to see. They were doing a great job. They also have webinars and tips and things on their website. So if you ever want to check them out, really great resources that they have there. They do also have psychological counseling. I will say, being a college student, it gets pretty stressful. I went to their psychological counseling. I have friends who went there. It's really nice to get assessed and treated. There's Path to Care. Unfortunately, there is going to be sexual assault, sexual violence. Anywhere you go in life, unfortunately, this is something that just happens. And if you come to Berkeley and you experience something like that, or if you come with past trauma, our Path to Care Center is really a place that cares about you, wants you to feel better, and will help you to make the choices that you think is right for you. And I think that's a really great thing. We have a few ambassadors who help work for Path to Care. So if God forbid anything does happen to you, or if you have something that you like to deal with, you can go there. We also have our Optometry Eye Center. Our optometry school runs the center. It's really fun, I feel like, to have eye care through some students here. That's kind of a cool thing to say. And stress relief, kind of going back to their psychological services. Every year we have a Llama-palooza and Pause for Mental Health. I feel like it's very fitting that animals are our main source of stress relief here at Berkeley. But we have dogs come to campus, which is a club, that's Pause for Mental Health, and Llama-palooza, which is llamas coming to campus right before finals week. And it's very fun. You'll see everyone's Instagram is just covered with llamas for that week because we're all just very excited to see the llamas. So hopefully those are things that are coming back in the year to come.
And speaking of health and wellness, let's talk about safety. So generally, the UC Police Department is stationed or headquartered at Sproul Plaza, making it very accessible to Berkeley students. We have blue light poles at all entrances and exits, where if you ever feel unsafe at any time, you can hit that button right there and you will receive help as soon as possible. We have the Warn Me system where you can sign up for notifications in case, let's say, the air quality is poor, or there's something that's out there that may be endangering you as a UC Berkeley student. You will receive that notification ASAP. I prefer to get mine on my phone, and it's nice to know exactly what's going on. Berkeley's a big city, and it's good to just know exactly that I am kept in the loop. We also have residence hall 3-point security to keep students safe inside the residence halls, as 96% of freshmen live in the residence halls, and it's just good to keep everybody in a situation where they feel, comfortable and not in a situation where anything is making them anxious. We also provide night services. If you're scared of the dark like me, then you can definitely take these services. Berkeley offers the night safety shuttle, which runs from 7:30 p.m. to 3 a.m. in case you have a late club meeting, a late class, anything like that. It can pick you up and take you to your living arrangement, wherever you need to go. And there's also Bear Walk, where you can go ahead and reach out to a student who is uniformed, radio equipped, and trained by the police department. And they'll kind of just be your walking buddy and make you feel comfortable walking at night. So yeah, some really cool resources. I've heard Bear Walk is a great way to make a friend. So definitely take advantage of these resources here to feel safe.
Yes, those resources are very useful, and they are used. I used the night safety shuttle a lot when I lived in the dorms, coming back from a library, or just if I was somewhere a little too late and lost track of time. It was a really great thing to use. But moving on to student development, I think we're going to breeze through this just for the sake of time, but just know that our campus really cares about your success. It cares about your success no matter the background you came from. If you were privileged to have a lot of resources at home or whether you weren't, we really want you to succeed. And that's something we pride ourselves on. So if you come here and you need more support, or if you want a community that shares your identity or your interests, you will have that. We have a couple different centers or groups for you. We have the Center for Educational Justice and Community Engagement. Our ASCC has a few different programs for community. We have a Transfer Student Center and Undocumented Student Center. For students who might need a little bit of extra support, we do have Disabled Students Program, or DSP. I have a lot of friends in this program, people with invisible disabilities and visible disabilities. It's really helpful. I think, we want you to get that education that you want. We want you to pursue your passions, and your disability should not inhibit that at all. So Berkeley does really care about you and cares about having your needs met. We also do have the Basic Needs Center. This is where students who might not be able to afford certain needs can come and get them for free. This program really expanded with COVID, which was great. Pre-COVID, we had a Berkeley Student Food Collective, which was a student-run grocery store that had sliding scale meals and different things. I actually worked for this or volunteered. It's just really great that other students, not just the campus, also care about everyone's well-being, and we care about supporting each other. I think that's one of my favorite things about the Berkeley community, is that we want each other to succeed no matter your background. And that's something that is shared by everyone on our campus.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you need any support, Berkeley is there to offer it to you. And I think that's really important to keep in mind. Transitioning a little bit to student life, we have over 1,000 registered student organizations here at Cal. If you have an interest that you think is super niche, like analyzing the occupations of Percy Jackson characters, you might think that nobody has that interest, but they do. Like, Cate's out here and she has that interest too. And it's just like super cool. And if you feel like there's no organization that offers that interest, then you can make your own club. So fantastic opportunities. There are opportunities to volunteer. There are campus employment opportunities. Believe it or not, Cate and I are, and Kara and everybody on the back end are campus ambassadors, and we get paid for this. So there's a lot of different opportunities for, there's tutoring and just helping people on campus everywhere. You can just get paid for that, which is great. The location of Berkeley in the Silicon Valley provides a lot of opportunities to different internships. Proximity to San Francisco and Silicon Valley are great. So I know a lot of people who intern at Google, Apple, Facebook, Salesforce, like all these different places. So that's great stuff. There's also a lot of study abroad options, and Bay Area exploration is so common here at Berkeley. Even though I have grown up in the Bay Area essentially my entire life, I still find myself going out and exploring more after being here, which I think is super special.
Moving on to athletics, most of our students are not in athletics, but it is really fun to watch. I will say I was not a big athletics football watching person in high school. I kind of, was like, oh, it's a waste of my time. But coming to Berkeley, it's so fun. It's a little stress relief. It's a little fun thing on the weekends. So we all do love our Bears. A fun fact is that our student section is on the 50-yard line. That is not very common. I believe we're the only one in the Pac-12 who does that. It's really good to be on the 50-yard line, see everything. If you know nothing about football, at least you can see it, if you're like me. But that would be our D1 sports. So our football team, most of our sports are D1. If you are not D1, which is a pretty competitive level, you can go to club if you want to keep playing sports at Berkeley. So maybe you played a sport in high school and you want to keep up with it, but not at that intensity of an NCAA sport, you can do club. If not, you can do, excuse me, intramural or recreational sports. Those are a little bit less commitment. So that's a really fun thing to do. If you're wondering some of our locations for our sports, we have our California Memorial Stadium. I really love our stadium. We kind of realized that it was being wasted on a few football games every year. So we have a lot more resources in there. We have some graduate student programs in there. We also had COVID testing, and there's a few different gyms in there. So it's really open to the student population, not just our football team. That's really cool. Haas Pavilion also, that's where our gymnastics team and our volleyball team and our, of course, basketball team play. Our basketball team is pretty good, so it was always fun to go to their games. I personally love going to gymnastics meets. I'm a big gymnastics fan, so that's always good. And it is pretty cheap if you're a student to go. I think it was about $2 per ticket for me. There's also the recreational sports facility, which is our gym on campus. It is free to go. Right now it is currently open. If you want to make appointments, you can go in. I personally pay for a membership at the Y, which is a gym off campus, because I wanted to go swimming indoors. So there's a lot of different ways to stay active on campus if you want to do that. If not, you don't have to. I didn't set foot in a gym for the first 2 years of being here. So you can do that, or you can go to the gym, whatever you want to do. You can also just watch sports. It's very fun. And we have 207 Olympic medals. And if you have not been paying attention, the Olympics are happening, and we are so excited because we have some swimmers and other athletes going. I have some friends who are on the swim team, so it's very exciting to watch them go. Hopefully we're going to be adding to that Olympic medal count, hopefully some golds, but whatever, I will definitely be rooting for Team USA and some of our Bears playing. So that'll be very exciting.
Alrighty, now talking a little bit about remote resources. You guys won't have to worry about this too much because we are returning to pretty much a hybridized instruction model. But in case you choose to be more on the remote side, we have different social media networks and student groups and clubs in which you can connect with students online and make friends online. And that's how I met actually all of my Berkeley friends my first year on campus. And I would say it's a great way to continue meeting people going forward. There's also a lot of different department webinars. There's professional and personal development opportunities, guest lecturers. Berkeley had the opportunity of having a conversation with Dr. Anthony Fauci, also Dylan O'Brien, who was in the Maze Runner, if anybody knows him. So there's a lot of cool people who come in and talk to us Berkeley students, which is really, really fun and easy to view when it's in an online format. And we also have Golden Bear orientation. So this past year was all kind of online, where it kind of told all the freshmen and incoming students about what Berkeley life is like, how to prep for classes, and all that different kind of stuff. This semester, I don't actually know what GBO is going to look like. I have a feeling it's going to be hybridized, but just nonetheless, expect the same kind of, you will be trained in preparation for networking classes and all that stuff. If you feel lost at all, GBO is honestly a great way to kind of clear your mindset and feel prepared for your new year and your start at college.
And just wrapping us up with our campus, we have a lot of libraries. Personally, I think the best part of our campus is our libraries. Just looking at them, just aesthetically, it's the reason I'm going here is just when I came to campus and I looked around, I was like, this feels like the most beautiful academic place I've ever been. In that top left corner, you see Doe Library. That is our Hogwarts Library. I feel like everyone tries to say that they have one that looks like Hogwarts. Every time I'm in there, I take a picture and I post it on my Instagram story so that all my friends who don't go to Berkeley know that we have the best library. We have a million other volumes and libraries and just resources on campus. We have those 13 million volumes. Those are also online. So if you're doing a research paper, you can check out that book and get that information that you need. I know for a lot of my papers, I have had it required that I use some of the research and resources that Berkeley has to offer. So an abundance of information there. If you want to do research for our campus, there is no limit to this opportunity. We have UREP, which is our Undergraduate Research Apprenticeship program. This is done through different departments. You sign up on the website, apply, maybe get an interview, maybe work for a lab. If not, we have many different departmental opportunities. I have friends who have cold emailed professors and got research. That's honestly my plan for the fall. It really works. Professors are eager to have help from different students. So if you are worried about applying for research, you can always just email or walk into a lab. I've honestly had friends who literally walked in physically and asked if they needed help, and they said yes, which is so crazy to me. But if you are not a science person, I think most people think it's just for bio or just for chem or just for physics. It is not. I have friends in research in engineering, in the humanities, in art, in architecture. Honestly, I think more of my friends are in research for those fields than biology. It's really diverse research here at Berkeley, and anything you want to get into or that you're interested in, you can definitely delve into here.
Absolutely. And here's just like unwrapping a lot of our famous alumni and professors. So you can see Stephen Chu here, class of 76, who is the former US Secretary, sorry. Jennifer Doudna, who is a recent Nobel Prize winner in chemistry 2020 for her work with CRISPR technology, which is very exciting. Beverly Cleary, who, if you guys read the Ramona and Quimby series as children, or even now, she is fantastic, and unfortunately she passed away recently, but you know, she, I think, really made an impact on so many people's lives, so we love that really clearly. Chris Pine was in the class of '02. He has been in Star Trek and Wonder Woman. Janicia Adams, who was in Black Panther as a stunt woman, so very exciting stuff there. Steve Wozniak, who's the co-founder of Apple, and Alex Morgan, who's a Women's World Cup winner. So we have lots of famous alumni. If you want, you can even Google search that. But yeah, this is just a few people that we are very, very proud to call Golden Bears.
Just to round us off with a few of our campus highlights, Berkeley is in an urban environment, but we also have a lot of nature. I think the reason I love our campus so much is these natural elements. We do have squirrels. A lot of campuses have squirrels. We like to say we have the best squirrels. They're not scared of humans. So if you see one, don't think it's going to run away from you. It will come up to you and steal your food. Below that squirrel, you'll see Eucalyptus Grove. It is some very beautiful eucalyptus trees. I like to sit there and just kind of see the sun filter in. Very beautiful. Strawberry Creek is also pictured there. I've had some labs in Strawberry Creek. It's also just a beautiful, serene place on campus. If you want to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of Berkeley, there's definitely a place for you on campus. There's a place to go hiking, kind of just see all of that natural element, de-stress again. But if you want to be in the city, if you want to have that element, we of course have an abundance of that. So Berkeley really is a mixture of both worlds, and it's really great to see.
Thank you both so much for that incredible tour. I hope that our attendees learned a lot, because I know that I sure did. And we will head into a question just to wrap up our tour. We can stop sharing screen really quickly. Thank you. The question that is for both of you is, what is your Berkeley story? What has led you to apply to Berkeley, and then what has led you to stay and enjoy everything that the Berkeley environment has to offer? Cate, can you start us off with your Berkeley story?
Yeah, of course. So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm actually from a really small town outside of Pittsburgh. Half of my student body didn't know what Berkeley was. No one had ever gone there from my school. I personally just wanted to go somewhere pretty far and experience a new place. And I also wanted to go somewhere that was really good for biology, because my family has a lot of health issues, and I really want to get into research and try to improve living conditions and access to medicine for a lot of people. But when I got into Berkeley, of course, I was ecstatic. I was like, this is a school for me. This is my dream school, blah, 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 crying, screaming. And then I got really scared. I was like, I don't want to go here. It's too far away. No one's ever been here. I'm going to fail. Like, just going crazy, cried every single day in the summer. I pushed myself. I went there. I started the adventure. Literally the second day of school, I made some of my best friends. One of them is like a back-end ambassador right now on this tour. I've met so many people here who share common interests, who have something, you know, that I've gone through or have a similar passion to me. I try to make a friend in one of my classes so that I just always know someone. And it's just a really great thing. Someone who literally knew no one on the West Coast now has so many friends on this campus, so many virtual friends that I've literally never met. But, you know, we talk all the time, every day. And it's just a really good thing to see that community. And that's one of my favorite things about Berkeley, is that I've really found that home away from home. It's not just my school. It's like one of my favorite places to be. Some of my favorite people are here. So for me, you know, choosing Berkeley wasn't just choosing a school, it was choosing a home. And I'm really glad I did that.
That's such a lovely story, Cate. Thank you so much for sharing. My Berkeley story definitely starts off a little bit like anticlimactic, if that makes sense. I actually found out that I got into Berkeley in May of 2020 rather than March, because I actually was a waitlisted student and I got off the waitlist. And when I first saw that acceptance at first I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. But then I was like, well, I don't really deserve to go because I was their second choice. And I'm putting it in quotes because it's not true. If you are a waitlisted student, that is not true at all. That is a terrible mindset that I had for myself that you should not have at all, because they accept you for a reason, because they see something in you. But moving on from there, I remember being at a really low point mentally. At that point, the pandemic was in full swing. I'd kind of just like lost my graduation, lost my senior year. And I kind of felt that, like, I don't know, I felt really low confidence wise. And when I was choosing between Berkeley and this other school, and I remember emailing my English teacher, who is actually a Berkeley alum. And I was like, hey, I'm dealing with this. Can we talk through something? So we went ahead and hopped on a Zoom link and started talking. And I told him about the reason that I didn't think I would go to Berkeley was because of the fact that I didn't think I would succeed. I didn't think that I had it in me to do well. And then my English teacher said, Ritika, like, I don't want to push you to go to either school. I want it to be your decision. But if the only reason that you're saying you don't want to go to Berkeley is because of the fact that you don't believe in yourself, he told me to reflect upon my work in the classroom and reflect upon how I treat other people and reflect upon my dreams to help others and make the world a better place. And he said that you can succeed anywhere that you would want to go. And those were words that I didn't know how much I needed them at the time. And that was what pushed me to actually accept Berkeley. And the thing that I noticed, that was kind of the first example of me noticing a bear helping a bear, like a golden bear helping others. And that has really transitioned, that has remained constant through my freshman year as a student here, even virtually. Like I love my fellow ambassadors that I work with because they're all here to make a positive impact on other people and present college as an option to certain students, and even get them so excited about a school that does so many amazing things. So I chose Berkeley, and I'm still at Berkeley because I love how the students genuinely want to uplift other people. Like, it's not fake, it's genuine concern for others. And that passion is why I'm here and why I love everyone here. So yeah.
Thank you both so much for sharing. Those are both so inspirational. I really love both of your Berkeley stories. With that, though, it is the end of our tour today. So I'll leave you with a few resources just so you can check us out. You can go to our You Visit tour, which is kind of like a 360-degree view Google Maps kind of tour that you can click around some buildings. You can follow us on Instagram at VisitUC to see more of what we're doing. If you have any more questions, you can email tour@berkeley.edu, and an ambassador just like one of us will answer your questions. You can go over to the Bear Talk blog to read some more Berkeley stories like the ones that were just shared today. Other recorded virtual visits are available on our YouTube channel, and you can check out that. You can see what we're doing to celebrate 150 years of women being accepted to UC Berkeley at 150w.berkeley.edu. If you're looking for the admissions presentation, it can be found at admissions.berkeley.edu/visit. And finally, you can register for more student ambassador panels and engineering visits at the same place you registered for this tour. That's visit.berkeley.edu. With that, I just want to say a great big thank you for taking an hour out of your day to see more of what Berkeley is about and join us virtually. And I want to leave you with a great big Go Bears, because that is a very big tradition here on our campus. So if Cate and Ritika want to join me in a Go Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3, Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Have a great rest of your day.